This is season 3 of Pregnant with Purpose with Miss Regina Hassan.
Hey y'all, it's me, Regina Hassan, your host for the Pregnant with Purpose podcast, the podcast that celebrates and encourages people 60 plus who are living out or looking for their God-given purpose. Welcome. We're going to talk about a little bit about the sunset season of our lives, or the rhythm that I like to call the big band. I was given that idea by Steve. He's over there. I was given that idea by Steve about that time in our lives. And, you know, the sunset time, this is the time when life, well, let me just say, this is the time when you probably have discovered and you're living out your God-given purpose. It's a time where you know exactly that you are where you're supposed to be. You are starting to enjoy the fruits of your labor, so to speak. You know, you are beginning to reap your harvest, and it's a good time. It's a good time for you. And the reason why we call it the big band is because the band sound was a sound back then where they used instruments, much different than what's going on today. But they used all these different instruments, and they would all be in sync. And that sound sounded so great, and it sounded joyful, and it was that band swing that really could get you up and hopping. So I feel like that's what the sunset season of our lives should be like. You know, what society, or what some people try to put on us 60 plusers, is that, you know, this is a time where you need to settle down, get somewhere, sit in a rocker. If you're a woman, start knitting. If you're a man, smoke a pipe, and, you know, just watch your life play on out. But, you know, I'm of the belief that, you know, this is the time where that should be the most enjoyable, because this is the time that you usually have learned from your mistakes. You know, you suffered a few consequences, and you've learned from that, and you're a little bit, I'm going to use the word wiser. You make wiser decisions, you make wiser choices, and, you know, people are starting to come to you. People younger than you are starting to come to you seeking your wisdom. So I like this time of our lives. I'm trying to get there. I'm in the sunset as far as years are concerned. But as far as totally living out my purpose, I think that there are some other things that I know that there are some other things that I want to do, and that God has for me to do. Another thing about this sunset period is that you usually have in this 60 plus community, and we are a community, it's usually, if you discover what your purpose is, you found out that your purpose involves helping others. And that is so important, because I talked about this before, that if you're looking for your purpose or trying to discover what your God-given purpose, if it doesn't involve helping somebody else, it's probably not the purpose that God has for you. We were created to serve, and that's what we do. So this time in the life was serving, not only that sunset being the time where, you know, we've discovered what our purpose is, but really enjoying that service part, really enjoying getting out of self and helping other people. And that's what this 60 plus sunset can be all about. I was bringing in or getting together with other 60 plus people and really trying to inform and educate. We are a bevy of resources in this community, in a 60 plus community, even though people don't think so. Even though agencies, a lot of people, they're not hiring folks our age. The younger generation sometimes doesn't take our information, at least doesn't take it seriously. Not everybody, I don't want to say, not the wonderful people at CCN, not those young people, they listen. But society as a whole just really starts to write us off. But we baby boomers, hey man, we're the strongest generation there is right about now. Baby boomers. I know people think it's theirs, but I'm telling you, it's baby boomers. One of the reasons why is that we're so strong is because that we all are living longer. That baby boomers are living longer, much longer than what our previous generations did. So we have a lot of resources. We have a lot of resources, and when we come together as a community, man, we are a force to be reckoned with. Not only do we have the resources for a lot of us, not everybody, but for a lot of us, there comes some type of financial stability at this 60 plus. You know, we've found a way to sustain. We found a way to maintain and sustain at this age. For some of us, like me, I'm being a widow. You know, I've had to learn how to. I've had to learn how to maintain and sustain with one income, and it was very difficult. But I learned, and you know, I think that I'm better now than I was a few years ago. So. Another thing about the sunset years is that there's a lot of reflection that can take place when you look back about where you come from and where you are today. And I don't care what the situation was. I don't care what your situation is now. Man, when you look back over the years and what we have come through, what we have accomplished, for the baby boomers, we have come a mighty long way. We're talking about going way back to the civil rights era and, you know, surviving those type of eras, being able to survive that and come through it. Man, you know, we've seen so many things, man, things that I didn't even think would take place, not in my lifetime. Like, you know, we saw, you know, a black president, you know, that's amazing, you know, But on the other hand, we also saw another person get elected president that I never would have thought would have been president. So we've survived a lot, and we're still standing. And if you're 60 plus, hey, don't ever forget that. You know, no matter what you're going through right now, you're still standing, and we've come through it all. And we didn't come through it for nothing. That's why I'm so driven about living out your purpose. We didn't come through it for nothing. God has something for us to do. We were created to live out a purpose in our lives. And you know, maybe you haven't discovered it yet. That's okay. You know, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing the next right thing. You may be doing it and you just don't realize it. You just don't think, well, you know, this is nothing, you know. But, you know, whatever our purpose is, and, you know, God will let you know. But whatever the purpose is, if you're making the most of your life and making sure you're paying attention to every detail in your life, because it's less time on this side of 50 than it was getting to 50. Like, it took me 50 years to turn 50, but now I don't know if I have another 50 in me. So every day is important. That's true for any age. Every day is important because we don't know when. We don't know when our last day on this earth would be. But I heard a wise man preach about this, and you know, he said that we need to start living with the end in mind, and the end being death. That we need to start living our lives as if, hey man, since we don't know when the time is coming, we do know that it is coming. We know that we all will die. That's inevitable. That's gonna happen. That's a guarantee. But living our lives that way paints a whole different picture. And he said that, you know, we should start making a bucket list and not a to-do list. I'm just gonna say the man's name is Pat Patterson, but he said we should make a bucket list and not make that to-do list. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. That makes so much sense, you know, because, hey, when it's all said and done, I've never seen a grave marker that said, hey, they got everything done on their to-do list. I've never seen a grave marker that said that. So anyway, you know, it's a time of reflection. It's a time to look back and to see what has happened over our lives, and just to see. It's also, and I talked about this before too, that being present. It's also a real good time to take advantage of the now. I struggle with that, living in the now. I talked about, you know, always being in yesterday and always being in tomorrow and not just practicing today. Today, this is all we have. You know, this is all we have. The Lord's Prayer say, give us This day. It doesn't say anything about give us tomorrow or next week. It say this day. So what we do in this day and what happens now is very important. It's very important. And just realizing that a lot of time is wasted because they're not practicing the present, not practicing the present at this moment, that I've wasted a lot of time. So those young people, that's a little wisdom. Practice the now, practice the present. Try not to get so caught up into what you want to do. There's nothing wrong with planning for the future. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But we don't want to live in our future, nor do we want to live in our past. We do want to live for today. So they've been making me do these podcasts, just me, myself, without interviewing people, and that's been very hard. Yeah, y'all did. Yeah. That's been very hard for me. It really has. It's not anything, because it's something new. So the people here at the studio, at the network, they're younger than I am. So they're trying to get me out of my comfort zone and say, hey, maybe this is the season that you just bring you. So I'm like, who would be interested in that? So, but they told me to do this, so I've been doing it. Here's another one that I've done, and we can put this in the record books, okay? I am going to get back to interviewing folks, am I? Huh? Good. I am going to get back to interviewing and talking to people. What I realize is that, like I had shared on another one, I don't know if they've showed the podcast or not, but on another podcast, I talked about this season being a very difficult season. So there were a lot of things going on for me. It was a lot of things that were happening. So it was very hard for me to think about setting up interviews or thinking about people for the season. But once I was reeled back in, that's the best way I can say it. Once I was reeled back in and realized that, yeah, we're going to do a third season of Pregnant with Purpose. And I was thinking, is it going to be a third season? And then, oh, yeah, we're doing a third season. So for this third season, it may not look like the other two, but the mission is the same. Still trying to celebrate and encourage anybody 60 plus. If you're living out your purpose, if you're in the sunset era, the big band sound era of your life, hey, go for it. Go for it. I'm celebrating with you. And if you have not, if you're still looking for your purpose, don't stop. Keep looking, you keep looking, keep living, and remember, if you're not dead, God's not done. Bye. You know you old. You know you are old. You know you're old when you send someone a text, okay? And you're congratulating them on something, and then they answer you back by saying, thank you, I can't wait to see you and Regina. And you text back, this is Regina. You're the one, you old. And then they text back laughing and cracking up because of the fact that they realized that the person that sent them the text was the person that they were talking about in the text. So you old. You old with that. That's a good one.